Hello, lovely people. How are you today? I hope you're well. Here we go again. Here we blimmin' well go again. Yes, it looks like we're going into lockdown again. Now, it's been announced, however, it still has to be passed through Parliament in the next couple of days or so, but I'm absolutely sure it will be. I don't want to talk about it too much, but I do want to touch on it briefly, partly because I know there's probably a lot of folk who are feeling fed up, worried, this, that and the other, so hopefully I can give some words of calm today. But yeah, I think it was absolutely inevitable that it was going to happen, because not so much with the rising cases, because a huge amount of the positive cases are in the sort of the teenage, early 20s group, and they seem, for the most part, to be not getting very ill with COVID, for the most part. So it's not really so much about the case numbers rising, it's the state of our hospitals. And that's why we're having a lockdown now, in case anyone's not clear on this. We're protecting the hospitals. Excuse me. You know, I think a lot of people are possibly thinking, I mean, from things I've overheard in shops, things I've read online, when I sign out of my email account, it goes over to MSM, and there's always kind of news there, but quite often it's from the Daily Hate or one of those stupid papers. But anyway, there seems to be this sort of a slight divide amongst people that this is something which only affects old people, it's only killing old people, and old people don't matter anyway. Obviously, that's not how I think. Yes, it's true that for the most part, the people who are getting seriously ill are the over 60s. The people who are generally needing hospital help are the over 60s. And when I say the over 60s, actually, mostly the over 80s. So, you know, I've kind of heard people saying, you know, well, what's the point, because they're old anyway, why don't we just, you know, leave them at home, basically leave them at home to die. Or, you know, the over 80s, they should just stay at home, go back to that whole sheltering thing. The problem is, you know, when someone sick turns up at a hospital, what do? Of course you treat them. We don't discriminate at our hospitals based on age. The problem, though, in the last couple of weeks is there are some hospitals who are already at the max with their bed capacity, and already getting to the stage where they're having to cancel elective procedures, elective surgeries, that sort of thing. If we didn't have this lockdown now, I mean, we're still going to see numbers going up in the next few weeks, but the whole idea is that we don't max out the capacity of all our hospitals with COVID patients. And, you know, there's another school of people who will say, oh, but winter flu kills all the old people, blah, blah, blah. This is putting much more of a strain on the NHS than winter flu. So, yes, we are protecting our hospital capacity by doing this, trying to act as a sort of a fire break. From the science I'm trying to keep up with and follow, I don't know if this lockdown will only last 4 weeks or if it will go on for longer. I think it's quite possible we'll have this 4-week lockdown. The government will possibly relax things for Christmas. I mean, it's bonkers. And then possibly another lockdown. And I think there's every possibility that we'll go in and out of this scenario over the sort of the whole winter months, that us hospitals get back on top of things, maybe lockdown restrictions can be lifted, then when hospitals start getting maxed out again, lockdown again. I don't know, I'm just thinking that's a possible way, possibly it's going to go. But never mind me speculating, never mind the whys and wherefores. This is the situation we're in. I think, you know, over the late summer and just coming into autumn, I think, frankly, people got really slack about the rules. You know, I see it every day. I'm walking to the allotment, you know, I'm walking past cafes, restaurants, pubs, what have you. I can see in through the windows. They're packed. They're packed full of people. No one's got a mask on. No one's got any kind of social distancing going on. They're all mad. Everyone who's been doing that, you're mad. You're asking for it. Oh my goodness. But even, you know, in shops, so many of the shops around me, the numbers aren't restricted. There are still a couple of shops which are observing that thing of, you know, only 2 customers or only 4 customers. These are our little shops. But the supermarkets, there's no one on the door to stop, you know, stop the shop getting too crowded. The mask wearing has been so slack. So yeah, I'm not surprised it's happened. So here we are in this situation again. But the one thing I wanted to say, I really, really want to give some positivity to us at this moment. I know that there are probably a lot of people worrying again and to a degree panicking. You might be one of those who's feeling a bit panicked and even sort of catastrophizing. That thing where you think, oh, but what if this happens and what if that happens and and it's all getting out of control and it's all just horrid and unknown. Sorry, just really get comfy. This is what I want to say, and it's what I'm saying to myself as well. If you feel yourself getting panicked and stressed and all those things, sit down, take a few deep breaths, and just remind yourself, we've been here before, we did it, we got through it. That was 3 months, and it was actually a much stricter lockdown than we're having now. You know, back then, I think, was it the over 70s, over 75s were being asked to stay indoors all the time, to just never go out. That's not the case this time. Anyone of any age can go out if they need to go to the shops or take their exercise. So yes, please, please, please remind yourself, you've already done this. You did it. You managed. You coped. You got through it. You'll do it again this time. You will. I will. We will. We will manage. I'm going to have a sip of tea. This tea is new to me. It's supposed to be, this flavour is supposed to be strawberries and cream. It sort of does smell like, it smells like a strawberries and cream boiled sweet. Let me have a try. I don't know if you can see the, oh, no, I can't tip it out. Yeah, it's another one of these pinky ones. I wouldn't say strawberries and cream, I'd say hibiscus and apple, but I know that's what's in it, hibiscus and apple and some strawberry pieces. Oh, it's quite nice though. These came from MJ, thank you so much. I'm going to show you now. Also, in this video today, when's this going out? I don't know when this is going out. But just, I'll come to the tea bags in a second. Let's just wrap up on COVID, or lockdown, should I say. So yeah, please, please, please remind yourself that you've been there, done that, got the t-shirt, you did okay. You will do okay again. We'll all do okay again. Now, I was thinking about this when it was announced, how it is going to be different this time because it's slightly less strict and it's not 3 months, it's 1 month. But I was remembering back to that first lockdown and, you know, I saw all over my Facebook feed, and I'm sure you saw it on yours with friends too, of, you know, suddenly everyone's going to write a novel, learn a musical instrument, learn a new language, do their daily exercise routine with Joe Wicks, you know, all that kind of stuff. We're all going to do all this. And actually all that most of us ended up doing was lying on the sofa eating pizza and drinking wine every day. Well, not me. I carried on working. But for those people who either don't work because they're retired but couldn't do their normal activities outside, and for those people who would normally work but whatever their business, their role is in the working world, that was closed, so they were home, furloughed. Yeah, all these great plans of things we were all going to achieve, and yeah, didn't happen, did it? No, I know some people were very creative and productive, but I was just thinking for this time around, this might be kind of fun to do together. Now, like I said, that none of that really applied to me because I work from home anyway. This is my workplace and the allotment. Oh, actually, let me come on to that in a second. Just a quick word about the allotments this time round, because I know last time there's loads of speculation about will they be closed, can we go, can't we go. I looked on the HMRC. No, that's my tax site, isn't it? Anyway, I looked on the government hm.gov. I looked on the website last night about the rules for this new lockdown, and I looked very specifically. Allotments are open. There's absolutely no worries about not being able to come and go to our allotments. I know they've talked about exercise being for 1 hour, but there's been nothing mentioned about, restricting allotment time. But let's face it, we're heading into winter, so I think most of us, a daily visit of 1 hour to the allotment, that's probably more than enough to do little jobs, bit of harvesting, what have you. So yes, allotments are carrying on. This time as well, garden centres, this is great, have been classed as essential shops. So not only will we keep our food shops open, all our chemists, of course, will be open. Our garden centres, essential, they're staying open. Although, from what I've heard from a lot of other people, by this time of year, garden centres just become these horrible plastic tat-filled Santa grottos at this time of year. Check out your small little local nurseries and garden centres, because they probably do still have green stuff for sale as opposed to all the plastic tat for Christmas. Anyway, yes, so that's great news. So again, there's no need for anyone to be panic buying anything to do with their garden. There's no need for anyone to be panic buying anything to do with, their food, their loo rolls. It's all going to be staying open and normal. Yes, so back to that thing about during the first lockdown, with people kind of, I'm going to create my magnum opus. What I thought for this one, should we do it weekly? Maybe weekly. I just thought every now and again when I'm having one of my little chatty catch-ups like this, I might set you all a little challenge, something to do that week. And it's not going to be writing novels and learning new languages or anything like that, but something much more achievable, attainable, and less, brain ache, learning something new. And as I mentioned, obviously I know a lot of you do work from home as well. You're like me, you're craftspeople who are still working. So you're not going to have time. So this is for those folk who find that they've got time on their hands, they're feeling a bit bored. Because the other thing with this lockdown is the weather the weather ain't so good. The weather's definitely not as good as it this time round. So I think there's definitely going to be less kind of going to the park and hanging around and sitting on benches for 3 or 4 hours just watching the world go by. So I have often talked about that idea of, for no reason whatsoever other than for a bit of love and a surprise, write to a friend you haven't been in touch with for ages, or relative. I'm often saying, grab a postcard, grab a little card, just drop someone a line to remind them that you love them. So it's on that theme, yes. What I'm going to challenge you to do this week is write a lovely, long, chatty, rambling letter to a friend you haven't been in touch with for ages. But not only that, and this is the fun bit, decorate it. Decorate your letter. So have plain paper to write your letter on. Or maybe if you need ruled paper, I know some of us prefer ruled paper, maybe have a blank sheet to put on the top of the whole letter to start it. Let your imaginations fly. So, have you got coloured pens or pencils in the house? Have you got some paints maybe? Doodle, colour in your doodles. For those of you who like stitching, maybe get a card rather than paper, but why don't you embroider a card? So, you know, draw out a design on a card and embroider it. I love sewing on paper. I don't know why. There's something incredibly satisfying about that. There's something so tactile about it. So yeah, embroider a piece of card. Maybe you haven't got any sort of coloured pens or pencils in the house. Go and find some old newspapers and magazines, cut letters out, do a little fun ransom note. Maybe you should ransom your friend for some love or something. Or, you know, images from magazines, do a collage. Who's to say, you know, the collage, and then you can do some painting around it as well. Or here's another thing I liked doing as a kid. Cut strips of coloured paper out of your magazine, or if you've got some coloured paper anyway, and I'm excited. Weave the paper. I used to love weaving paper too. And maybe if you do a sort of a top sheet like that you design and make fancy, maybe you could fold it in a certain way to make it almost like an envelope. Stitch a button on. You may need to post it inside another envelope. But yeah, write to someone you've been out of touch with for a while, or just someone you're missing. You know, excuse me, we all got so into our video chats, didn't we, last time around? And then they got really boring. You know, when the family want to speak to you twice a week via Zoom, and you think, I don't normally speak to you even once a week. If I speak to you once a month, that's enough, thank you very much. And then suddenly it's like every night of the week they want to Zoom with you. No! So maybe this time round, yeah, some letter writing. And make it a moment for yourself, you know? Like I've got this lovely tea, I'll tell you about in a second. Brew up a pot of really special tea. Set your table out. With the actual letter itself, maybe you won't complete it in one day. Maybe you'll come back to it for 2 or 3 days and just keep adding little bits. But the big thing is decorate it. Be a kid again. Just let your creativity, let your imagination fly. Get the glue out, get the scissors out, get the pens out, get the coloured papers out. Go for it. Can you imagine how much joy that will bring to your friend when they receive it in the post? So there you go, that's this week's week 1 of lockdown, a little challenge I'm setting you all. Like I said, I'm not going to do it, I'm busy, I've got sewing to do. So, quickly, because I wanted this to be a quick one today, thank you so much MJ. MJ has sent me, I'm going to pull them out, a load of tea bags. They're all in these little individual packets. So, these are organic. The tea bags themselves are completely compostable. This is something that came up with Paul the other day. We were talking about the difference between things being compostable and biodegradable. This very clearly says on each packet, so this looks like a plastic packet. It says, this way you have to be careful, because some things it says suitable for composting, but it needs heat from commercial composters. Put it in your food waste bin if your council collect that. But this one says suitable for home composting. Yay! All sorts of flavours. Orange and ginger, Moroccan mint, vanilla, lemongrass, ginger, cinnamon. They've all got little illustrations on them. Love that. That's Moroccan mint, little fez hat. English breakfast tea. Toot toot with a London boss. Yeah, these would be loved. Oh my goodness. black tea with caramel. I wonder how they've got the caramel taste. Anyway, so MJ, thank you so much. Now, you know, or you know, I'm not a huge drinker of tea, drinker of hot drinks, full stop. But I do like one occasionally. And that's what I mean about, say, with the letter writing as well. I'm going to talk about treats very quickly now too, is when we do things slowly and mindfully, if we try and create specialness from that moment, those little moments can be special. So when I have one of my teas, one of my lovely little selection, and I make it and I take the time to sort of smell it and taste it and enjoy it, it feels like so much more of a moment than just drinking a cup of tea. Does that make sense? This is lovely actually. Quite often with the red ones, they look and smell like they're going to have a really strong taste and they don't. But this one actually does. And I can see in the tea bag itself, I can see that, let me see if I can show you this. I can see the piece, can you see all the pieces of apple in it? Oh, it's spinning, hang on a sec. Oh, can we do this in a sec? I don't know if you can make that out. That's pieces of apple and pieces of strawberry in there. How lovely. And just very quickly, on the word of treats before we go. I've got a treat lined up for myself. Got two. So, some of you may not have been watching forever. And I know, you know, a lot of folk don't see every single video. So I will just repeat a little habit I have. And that is, I allow myself about £10 a week for shopping. And that's for stuff that I can't grow in the garden. So, for example, washing powder, soap, shampoo bar, those kind of things that, you know, I don't necessarily buy them every week, but they need to be bought because I can't grow them. Rice, lentils. So despite growing my own last year, didn't grow enough. Rice, lentils, oil, lemons, all of those kind of things. Now, generally, so I give myself that tenner, and most weeks I don't spend the full tenner. But I'm very good if there's like £2 or £3 left at the end of the week, I'll carry it over into the next week, because especially if I think, well, next week I probably need to buy washing powder, loo rolls and rice, and all three of them together, that's going to cost me 12 or 13 quid. So I'll keep my change, carry it over to next week, so that next week I'll have enough for all those items. But every sort of 3 or 4 weeks, actually sometimes it's every week, not often, but let's say on average every 2 or 3 weeks, I'll end up with a couple of quid in my purse, and I don't need to carry it forward to the next week, so I give myself a treat. Because, you know, I work hard, I go without a lot of stuff, that's fine, I'm not complaining. But if you're working hard and living in denial all the time, that would just be soul destroying. So I do have treats. More often than not, it's a book, because I'm a book addict. Every now and again, it'll be a foodie treat. So about a month ago, my treat was a malt loaf. Oh, so lovely. And it was on offer. It was about 75p, because I think they're normally about £1.20 or something. It's way luxurious. It's way not on my shopping list normally. So that was delicious. Oh gosh, weeks and weeks ago, my treat was an orange, because I hadn't eaten an orange for years. And again, it's this thing, like I was saying with the tea, you know, go slowly, make a moment of it. We take so much for granted. And if we slowed down and made the most of the moment with something, we'd kind of, put it this way, with that orange, it was incredible, because I hadn't had one for so long that the whole thing, the texture, the smell before my thumbnail went in and did that first psst of orange oil. Oh, anyway, so my treats today, treats plural. Now, the other thing about the treat of a book, it's always a book from one of my local charity shops. So the way I see it is, yes, I'm spending a couple of quid on a book, but that £2 is going to the charity. So I'm able to make a charity donation as well, which I'm not, you know, when I stopped working, I had to stop all my charity standing orders and I hated that. So buying a book from the charity shop, they get a couple of quid, I get a real treat, and then afterwards, usually I'll either pass the book on to a friend or I'll hand it straight back to the charity shop and they can sell it again. This week it wasn't a book. I've got enough books. I don't need any more books. For a quid, I got... Can you see what it... We'll take the sticker off. Oh, it's well stuck down. You see what it is? It's the Royal Ballet's production they did of The Tales of Beatrix Potter. Here, I'll show you on the back. You'll be able to see it. Can you see? So it's the Beatrix Potter's characters. I think there's 4 or 5. It focuses on Jeremy Fisher. He's the, do you remember, he's the frog or toad, I can't remember, sitting on the lily pad. Mrs. Tiggy Winkle and Jemima Puddleduck, who are my 2 absolute favourite characters. Squirrel Nutkin and Pigling Bland. So there were little ballets made around the characters. I don't know who did the music. Does it say on here? Ah, yes, composed and scored by John Lanchbury. I don't think I know him. And performed by the Royal Ballet. This is something I've wanted to see for ages. It's occasionally been on the TV at Christmas and I've still managed to miss it. I have so wanted to see it for so long. I popped in there to look for a book for myself. So I looked, I thought, no, there's nothing here that appeals. There's nothing I haven't read or whatever. I thought, oh, I wonder what's in the DVDs. I'm so glad I looked. £1. That's amazing. Amazing. And again, it's one of those things, when I finish with it, I can either give it back to them or flog it on eBay. Anyway, that meant I had £1, still had £1 left for treats. And when Richard and Paul were here the other day, I don't know how we got onto the subject, but we got onto the subject of pudding. Desserts. We only ever had pudding on a Sunday, after Sunday lunch. We were just chatting away about all our favourite puddings, and I was remembering and thinking about and kind of almost salivating for an egg pie. Oh, what you call an egg custard tart. I've got an egg custard tart. Honestly, so there were 2 in the pack. I just brought one out to show you for now. 2 in this pack, and they're in the reduced chiller, because I'd gone to the shop to pick up some loo roll or whatever. Anyway, I have to walk, there's sort of like a one-way system in my little supermarket now, so I have to walk past all of this. And it jumped out of the shelf at me. So yeah, 2 of these reduced, and it was something like 65p for the 2. I was like, yeah, I'm so having that. I cannot remember the last time I had one. I mean, it's got to be over a decade ago. Easily. Oh, can't wait. I think what I'll do is I'll make another cup of tea. I might pick a vanilla type tea and have this later. And then, of course, you see this little, it's like a little tinfoil cup. Of course, a frugal girl, gardener girl, immediately looks at that and thinks, oh, what can I do with that for the garden? How can I reuse it? Can I do it something like... What I thought was, I don't want to do it, is basically I could hang it on a bit of string, that and the other one, maybe a couple of different lengths, because they're really light, and then tie them onto the top of one of my broken bamboo canes in the brassica beds, so they'll sort of swing and flap around in the breeze, and it might be just enough to sort of glint and flash and maybe scare the pigeons away a bit. I don't know. But anyway, I kind of made myself laugh too by, it was like one of my first, after I'd spent 10 minutes thinking about how gorgeous this is going to be to eat, I then spent 10 minutes thinking, ooh, I've got to find a use for that. I can't wait. In fact, do you know what? I want it now. I want it now. So that's it. I'm going to wrap up. I'm looking at the clock too. Yes, done. Okay, so, yes, here we go again. We're in lockdown again, but back to the beginning. Yes, we've done it before. We can do it again. We will be fine, won't we? We'll all be grand. And you've all got your little challenge to get on with this week. What I might do, I hope you'll do it. What I might do is see if any of you are up for it, comment back on here, and then if you do, I might, in a week's time or so, on my Facebook page, I might open a thread so you can share photos of what you've managed to create for your decorative cover sheet to your letters. I think it would be lovely. Let's share. Yay! All right, gorgeosities, it's definitely time for cheerio. I've got a pie to eat. Can't wait. Oh my goodness, I'm so not doing it on camera. I want privacy to make my noises and turn it on my chin, whatever. Yes, so cheerio for now. Hopefully we've got a couple of dry days coming up, so the next time you see me, we'll get into the garden to see how it's looking at the beginning of November and to assess what little jobs are left to do. And oh yes, I've got a few things to plant in the next couple of weeks, so yeah, there'll definitely be some garden time. Until then, please look after yourselves, look after each other. And just a quick word, actually, if you are, two things actually, if you're on your own at home and you're struggling emotionally, mentally, please reach out. I know you've got access to the internet because that's how you're watching me. Go online. So, for instance, in the UK, we've got the Samaritans. They're just a phone call away. But there are all sorts of groups like that. So wherever you are in the world, because I know also loads of my European brothers and sisters are also going into lockdown at the moment. So within your country, what I'm trying to say is, please, don't suffer in silence. Don't suffer on your own. If you're really struggling, Google, pick up the phone and just talk. Just let it out. Let it out to these people who are trained to listen to you and to hold your hand. That's one thing. What was the other thing I was going to say? No, I've completely forgotten. Yes. The other thing is, if you, let's say you are indoors, you're vulnerable, you're shielding, whatever it is, you're absolutely fine and happy upstairs, as it were, but you're worried about going to the shops, you're worried about going outside. Again, Google for your area. I know we have continued in my area right through, even after lockdown was lifted. We've got a COVID mutual aid group. Anyone can access it. You just go online and you kind of say what help you need, and you get hooked up with a volunteer in that group, and that volunteer will see to your needs. There are these sorts of groups all over the place. They may have a different name. It may be something you could access if you've got a church or some kind of social group you're normally part of, your library. Look online. So if you're at home, you can't get your groceries, you can't get a delivery slot from all the big supermarkets that do home deliveries, please don't panic. Have a look online. There's a huge chance in your area there is a volunteer just waiting to be able to help you. So again, don't just silently put up with misery at home. Reach out. There are people out there who want to help you. Okay? Be good. Do not keep your trap shut. If you need to ask for help, ask, because it'll come, honestly. All right, my lovelies, on that note, I'm going to love you and leave you. Go and eat me tart. And see you in a few days in the garden. Until then, stay well, everyone. Please. See you soon.